your love and grant us your salvation. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "Be watchful, be alert. You do not know when the time will come. It is like a man traveling abroad. He leaves home and places his servants in charge, each with his own work, and orders the gatekeeper to be on the watch. Watch, therefore. You do not know when the Lord of the house is coming, whether in the evening or at midnight or at cockcrow or in the morning. May he not come suddenly and find you sleeping. What I say to you, I say to all, watch." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise you, Lord Jesus Christ.
At any moment, the Lord could walk into our lives. Be watchful, be alert. The Advent wreath is in the sanctuary, and it's also out in the front of the church. And on the front of the bulletin, St. Andrew. What goes? Andrew and Advent, they go together. Andrew and Advent go together just like Advent and Andrew go together. It took me a long time to realize this. It was just a couple years ago, after all of my years of being a priest. And it's got something to do with my finding this out because I'm here at St. Andrew. I just learned a couple years ago that, and this is true, if you Google it, what is the date of the first Sunday of Advent? The first Sunday of Advent is the Sunday closest to the Feast of St. Andrew. All those websites will tell you. Isn't that something? I used to always start at Christmas and count back 4. That works. But now that I've been at St. Andrew, and I know that the Feast of St. Andrew is November 30th, and I know that any Googled site will tell you that the first Sunday of Advent falls on the Sunday closest to the Feast of St. Andrew, it's so easy. And today is November 30th. This is about as close to November 30th, the Feast of St. Andrew, as the first Sunday of Advent can get. Andrew and Advent go together, like Advent and Andrew go together. In Andrew, we find an example of an Advent adventure. The stages of becoming a committed disciple of Christ we find in our patron St. Andrew. And I suspect that as we remember these steps, these stages of being a committed disciple, an intentional disciple of Christ, as we look at Andrew, you're going to see something of your own story. I'll betcha. Andrew. At the beginning, Andrew must have had some kind of trust in this person named John the Baptist. As many people who are coming to Christ begin with some basic kind of trust in somebody, or in something that's Christian, or something about the church. Andrew had a basic trust of John the Baptist. His trust led him to some curiosity. And then, from curiosity, some openness. John the Baptist was preaching about the coming of the Messiah. His basic trust of John the Baptist led to a curiosity about the teaching of John, what John believed. And then there was an openness to what it was that John was speaking about. And eventually it moved into a seeking of that Messiah, the one about whom John, the one he trusted, had spoken. Seeking the one to whom he could give his life. It's almost like dating on purpose, you know? You're looking for the one to whom you can give your life. And when Andrew and the other disciples of John the Baptist are seeking the one to whom they can give their life, Jesus arrives on the scene. And John the Baptist says, there he is. There is the one to whom you can give your life. And because of that preparation time, because of that basic trusting, which led to an openness, a curiosity, and then an openness, and then a downright seeking of the Messiah, Andrew was prepared to follow that one. Andrew says, this is the one to whom I can give my life. And then he spent some time with Jesus that night, the Gospel of John tells us. And then he went to get his brother. To see the stages, a basic trust, a curiosity about God, about Jesus, about church, about kingdom, an openness to receiving that, and then a searching for it, and then finally an intentional commitment to follow Jesus and then to order one's life accordingly. Jesus walked into Andrew's life. Andrew decided to walk with Jesus, and then he went to find others to invite them to walk with them. That's an Advent adventure. And your own story is in there someplace, either because someone has been Andrew for you, or you are being Andrew for somebody else. Andrew and Advent go together. Andrew was not asleep as far as life was concerned. He was watchful. He was watching for God, and of course found him. That's our Andrew. November 30th, first Sunday of Advent. On this particular Sunday, we are going to be singing a particular hymn. We're going to sing it at the end of Mass today, and we're going to sing it the end of Mass every Sunday during Advent. And it's a hymn called "Wake Up the World," using the words of Pope Francis that he has addressed at the beginning, as he addressed to those who have consecrated them in religious life. For this, the beginning of the year of consecrated life. And it's in the pews someplace. At least you can maybe get it handy so that at the end of Mass that you have it. There's a grand picture of Pope Francis on the front. It's a nice smile, isn't it? And how about that scarf? The words at the bottom, it says, the church must be attractive. Wake up the world. Be witnesses of a different way of acting, of living. It is possible to live differently in this world. It is this witness I expect from you. Pope Francis. During Advent, take up our role to wake up the world so that the world will not be sleeping when Jesus walks into their lives. Look at the words of this hymn. You notice on the top left-hand side there you see Bergoglio. Bergoglio, of course, is Pope Francis's family name. These words are written by Pope Francis himself. Someone from Notre Dame put it to music. Look at the words. Wake the world with dawning joy. Wake it with your gladness. Work for justice. Live in peace. Claim the word courageous. Let us sing to God this new day. See the world in a different way. Let us wake the world with abiding words of faith. Though the world is locked in sleep, let us rise rejoicing, one with Christ, his light to keep, called to human kindness. Let us sing to God this day walk the world in a holy way. Let us wake the world with uplifting words of hope. Love the world with different eyes, God's own love incarnate. Leaving all to follow Christ, sweet and endless mercy, let us sing to God this new day, reach the world in miraculous ways. Let us wake the world with prophetic words of love. Thunder now God's song of praise, wake to harp and dancing, song to lift us all our days, song of love and triumph, for the bridegroom now awaits us in the faces of all we meet. Now awake the world with unending words of joy. At the preparation of the gifts, Davila will be playing as an instrumental the lines of music. Just allow it to soak into your heart. And at the end of the Mass, we'll sing as if we're trying to wake the world with dawning joy. With abiding words of faith, with uplifting words of hope, with prophetic words of love, with unending words of joy. Just like Andrew, our Andrew.